Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashtin Doctor, your habit coach, and today we have a very special episode. We're going to be talking about Ayurveda and, in particular, foods related to Ayurveda. For me, Ayurveda has always fascinated me. It's been one of those um, ancient mysteries that I haven't figured out. And every time I speak to somebody, my mind just explodes because of the amount of knowledge that existed for so many years. And today with me, I have a very special guest. I was on his podcast called Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond. His name is Dr. Vignesh Devraj, and he is an Ayurvedic doctor and runs a fantastic Panchakarma retreat called Sitaram Beach Retreat. Okay, I would love for you to welcome him on board the podcast. Hello,
Thank
doctor.
you. Thank you, Ashton, Doctor. It's a real honor to be in your podcast. And your podcast is something that is so genuine, authentic, and you give real tips that are practical in nature. I'm so honored to
Thank
be
you so
part of
much.
the podcast.
Thank you. You know, the podcast is nothing but an effort in love and giving back. So I'm so happy that I could interest people like you to invite me onto your podcast as well after listening to this. So that was a big win for me. Thank you
Exactly.
so much.
I think your podcast really resembles that, your passion. So that's what you say.
Thank you. Thank you. Vignesh, when we start off by thinking about Ayurveda, there are so many different kinds of thoughts that come to one's minds. And, there are different aspects in which you can jump into it. We can talk about circadian rhythms and the daylight, etc. And then we can talk about food. We can talk about the way we live. But if you could give a line or two on just understanding what Ayurveda is for you and the meaning it has for you, I would love for that to be a place that we can begin with.
So it was evolving many centuries ago. So at that time, our life was quite different. But what is interesting is Ayurveda talks about all the diseases that you see the humanity is suffering. It can be classified into two diseases. Like any disease, you name it, we can put under these two categories. One is diseases because of undernutrition and diseases because of overnutrition.
Wow.
And there is no other science that talks so much in advance about how to treat diseases of overnutrition. Because when Ayurveda was written, some of the textbooks, there were a lot of diseases because of overnutrition. That is why it was documented so well. Otherwise, it wouldn't be written. So when it talks about what category of problems are you having, and accordingly you do that. And then Ayurveda talks about the idea of treatment is all about antidotes. If you're feeling cold, you treat it with heat. If you're feeling dry, you treat it with oily. So understanding what is your quality, that if it is becoming excess, you use the antidote quality of that to heal yourself.
Very interesting, especially since one of the things I keep talking about is how currently we're all living in a world of excess.
Exactly.
Right? We're eating too much food, we're sleeping too much or too little. You're right, actually it's either too much or too little. And we just have so much stimulation constantly that I think there's an aspect of just our system going out of whack. And you're absolutely right, we're living in a place of too much. And this also leads back into food. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you today was understanding what Ayurveda talks about popular foods and what are some of the foods that we feel are good for us, but there is a twist to these foods, and there is a correct way of using them and there's a wrong way of using them. So how does food work like that?
See, Ayurveda, again, it was written when there was no McDonald's, there was no KFC, there was no Swiggy, there was no Uber Eats. So it was written at a time when food availability was not so like the preheated food, the processed food, the milk which is having a shelf life of over 1 month. These things were not written at that time. So, and it was not updated like every September, the Apple updates its software. Ayurveda was not either updated. So we have to use those fundamental principles, what is said at that time, and we are using it. But one thing that has not changed is our body is still the same when Ayurveda was written, and today also it is the same. Only the external circumstances has changed.
Correct.
So when we look at that, Ayurveda talks about more than the food, you should be concerned how strong is your digestion. That is the first thumb rule. If your digestion is bad, even if you eat the most healthiest cooked food,
Hmm.
maybe it will help you, but you will not be able to digest it well.
Hmm.
And digestion is not just a exclusive thing. It is a result of your whole lifestyle. Like, for example, when you see a flower in a plant,
Hmm.
that flower is just not a result of something in that plant. It is a result of where the plant is growing, what is the soil, what is the water, how much sunshine it is getting, and is the surrounding neat or polluted. All of this results. So if the flower is not having the good color, you don't just go and paint the flower. You started with the root. You change everything that is happening.
Hmm.
Same is with digestion. Digestion, according to Ayurveda, we have a phonetic obsession with digestion. You go to an Ayurvedic doctor, he may forget to ask you what is your name, where you come from, what do you do. But he will be one question that you can definitely be assured is a good Ayurvedic doctor. Are you going to toilet regularly? Are you getting hungry? What are your eating habits? Because hunger is a sign of life. And today, we are not eating for hunger. We are eating for gastronomical reasons.
Hmm.
That is, eating for craving and eating for hunger are two different things.
Correct.
Hunger is, you are listening to your body's energy needs.
Correct.
And craving is you're wanting entertainment. You just want to get rid of some emotional issues. So food gives us a sense of satisfaction because our brain was trained in such a way that if you eat food, you feel you have energy to deal with the stress. So we use that, and the food industry is exploiting that to the worst. Every few meters you go, you'll see a fast food, and everywhere you're getting this trigger. So let me eat. So I'm going to feel good. Let me eat. I'm going to feel good. So this is being abused today.
Correct.
So the foundation is how to improve your digestion, and then on top of that, you have to go parallel. But if you see which one to select first, you have to select on updating your
1 minute.
digestion. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, guys, bye. Go back to sleep. Okay.
So
Every time one cow passes, sorry, I think every time a cow passes or something. Victoria, down. I'm so sorry about this.
No problem.
So, down. Okay. Sorry, Antriksh, we'll have to cut that part out and just continue. Over to you.
So if you ask, should we focus more on the food or focus more on digestion? People think your digestion is a result of the food. Food is only one aspect of your digestion. Digestion is a sum total of your lifestyle. Your sleep, your emotions, your relationship with yourself, with your work, with people around you. And if you're having a lot of stress, all of this is going to impact your digestion. And that is why in Ayurveda, we have a profound concept called as Agni. The word Agni, literally, we think it is fire. But Agni means the ability of our body to convert the food into energy we can use. Like you have a car. What is the mileage? Good mileage means it's a good Agni.
Correct.
And if the mileage is bad, if it is creating too much of gas, then Agni is bad.
Efficiency.
So, yes, exactly. So after eating food, the question you need to ask is, am I feeling tired or energetic? After eating food, am I feeling heavy or light? After eating food, do I produce a lot of gas or I'm feeling comfortable, lethargic? So all these are parts to understand how strong is your digestion. And we also, to a great extent, understand it by looking at your tongue. If your tongue has a lot of white coating, it means there is a lot of mucus that is present in your gut, which is not healthy. So these are some of the ancient times. We don't put the gastroscope, to understand what is inside. Everything we have to understand, because tongue is the mirror of your whole gut. So we try to understand,
like your gut coming up till here,
exactly,
right? It
exactly.
Right.
To a great extent, it's like a periscope, to understand what's happening inside you. So all of this is understood. And in today's condition, especially where the food availability is so high, see, there was a time in history when we were so much concerned that people are dying because there is no food. But today we are least bothered who is dying because of food. We are more concerned people dying because of overconsumption. Heart attack is the biggest disease.
Correct.
And
Diabetes.
diabetes, yeah. Coming from India, we are the diabetic capital because we love
Correct.
sugar, and sugar is subsidized, and even for sugar we add sugar. And that is how our population, and on top of that we are not moving at all, and sitting is the new smoking, they say, or sitting is like the biggest
Correct.
poison today. So when you are eating food that are over nutritious,
Hmm.
what happens is our ability to process will also go down.
Hmm. Hmm.
There is a limit how much our body can accept, depending on your working culture, depending on how much you're moving, if you're exercising and you're sleeping.
Hmm.
So according to all, when it comes to food, when you focus on the food, first thing that we have to understand is if you are having diseases of overconsumption, then we have to eat food that are light in nature. Light in nature means that are not heavy. After having it, you don't feel bloated. After eating that, you don't feel uh, tired.
Hmm.
So the food that are creating too much of heaviness is something that you get in most of the packaged food, the junk foods that you get, because these are just to give a gastronomical sense of entertainment. You're just
Hmm.
coming out of it. So sugar, in ancient times, sugar was not so much available for us. I mean,
Hmm.
sugar made in Ayurveda, there was no calorific values identified at those times.
Hmm.
So the only laboratory that we have was our tongue. Everything that
Hmm.
we took, even if you see a little kid, the greatest laboratory for the child is the tongue. He puts
Hmm.
it in his mouth and to see what it is. So the
Hmm.
same way it is with our own self. So we classified into 6 different tastes. Like we have sweet, we have sour, we have salty, we have pungent, we have astringent.
Hmm.
Like there are many tastes that are being told.
Hmm.
And the word for sweet in Sanskrit is called as madhu or swad, which means that which
Hmm.
gives you a sense of happiness.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you're eating something that is sweet in nature, that gives you a sense of happiness because sweet has a lot of glucose. But today
Correct.
we are having a lot of refined white sugar. Refined
Hmm.
white sugar is one of the best slow poisons that we can take today,
Hmm.
because that can get stuck in your body.
Hmm.
And if on top of that, if your agni is low, if you're not able to digest well,
Hmm.
all this will keep getting inside your body.
Hmm.
So let us start with the refined white sugar, and then we will get into fats, and we will talk about food compatibility, and then we will talk about lifestyle, if that
Lovely.
goes well with that. So,
Perfect.
so refined white sugar is the number one killer. The moment you see
Hmm.
refined white sugar, we all are triggered in such a way that the moment you eat that, you're going to get enlightenment. The moment you
Hmm.
eat that, you're going to feel so good, and that is how it feels for that particular moment. But then later we feel guilty. The later we feel, oh my God, how did I manage to put all of this stuff inside me? And then it creates a we call it a tiger catching the tail of the tiger. Once you catch the tiger is going to come back to bite you, but then you again run with the tiger's tail, and it comes back. That's the habit loop that we fall into.
Correct.
And when you get into that, what happens is your body gets into a biochemical change, and then you
Hmm.
become a slave of this biochemical change, because you nourish the bad bacteria, and the bad bacteria keep wanting more junk food, and if you don't get it, the bad bacteria is going to give you a lot of nausea, tiredness, headaches, and then
Hmm.
again you want to have this again, and then you
Hmm.
are stuck like a just like any other drug addict.
Hmm.
And why I say drug addict, because that's the easiest way to correlate. In fact, food
Hmm.
is the kind of non-prescriptive drug for entertainment,
Hmm.
for boredom. Today food is one
Correct.
of the best anti-boredom stuff that we are taking.
Correct.
And after the sugar, the next one talk about is the processed fat.
Hmm.
And
Very important. You said processed fat. You didn't say fat.
no,
And I think that is something
exactly,
people need to
exactly,
take.
exactly. I mean, fat in general is good. Our body needs fat.
Correct.
Our brain is a fat. When we say body is made up of 70% water, fat is a refined version of water element.
Correct.
So we need fat. Fat is a very valuable thing. That is why we take a
Hmm.
lot of ghee, because ghee is one
Hmm.
of the most elements that crosses the blood brain barrier to nourish our
Hmm.
brain.
Hmm.
And when you take a lot of processed fat, it gives you a lot of good taste,
Hmm.
crunchy taste, but deep inside it goes and it really messes up your whole system.
Hmm.
See, you have a fantastic car, right?
Hmm.
You cherish this car and it is your dream car, but you don't want to drive it on a beer. You don't want to
Hmm.
put some junk stuff. You want to put the best quality petrol there. The
Correct.
same is with our food. What goes inside is what you think. What your whole energy is a reflection of what goes inside. Because our gut, in Sanskrit, it is called as koshta. The
Hmm.
word koshta means the channel through which
Hmm.
the outside world is going to enter you.
Lovely.
See, whatever I'm putting inside my mouth,
Hmm.
that is going to become my blood in the next moment.
Correct.
And the quality of your blood is the quality of your energy and the quality of your
Correct.
immunity, the quality of your life.
Hmm.
But the problem is the gut has fantastic capacity to filter what is going through the gut.
Hmm.
But it does not have the ability to convince our brain what should go inside and what should not go inside. So the problem is these two are not aligned properly.
Our tongue and our tummy are not aligned to each other
Exactly,
because our
exactly,
tongue wants some kind of food, but our stomach and our brain want something else.
exactly,
I keep telling people, that when you think about food, you should think about food as a foreign object entering you,
exactly,
right? We think about food as this beautiful, comforting relationship that we have, but in truth, it is like almost like, I know this triggers people, but it's almost like a thorn going into your body. Your body
exactly,
is trying to get rid of it as fast as possible, right? The same way when we eat our food, our body is also trying to get rid of it as fast as possible while trying to take whatever is good from it. And
exactly.
I think that's the way that my brain thinks about food.
I mean, our ability, see, in Ayurveda, one thing that we say, as an Ayurvedic doctor, if a patient comes to me, my greatest challenge is not to give him what medicines he wants. My greatest challenge is to align his brain and his gut.
Hmm.
When I say brain and his gut, align his tongue so that it is aligning with his needs of his body rather than his emotional needs.
Correct.
So once you align that, the body will take care of itself. See, we don't have to, when we get up in the morning, we are not worried, okay, now I'm going to make my heart to beat. Now I'm going
Yes.
to make my blood circulate. The body has such profound intelligence. Even the so-called modern medical science, we are still light years. Light years is still an understatement from figuring out how our body is functioning. We still don't know where the nails are coming from. We still don't know where the hair is coming from. We still don't know when a baby is born, why it is male or a female. There are so many aspects which is beyond our scope of logic.
Correct.
So what the best thing what Ayurveda talks about, if you have to give the inference, what is Ayurveda all about? Ayurveda is all about living a lifestyle where you are so connected and aligned with your body's intelligence.
Hmm.
And the more you are disconnected with this intelligence, pain comes, diseases, symptoms manifest. These symptoms are your just like a GPS telling you you're going in the wrong direction. Pain and disease is the way the body is communicating you're being disconnected. It's like a
Hmm.
calling, come back to your intelligence, come back to
I
your
love this.
natural ways.
Let me just harp on this point because
Sure.
I don't want people to miss it. Saying, understand that your body needs to be pain free, right? As soon as you realize that a part of your body is in pain, you suddenly detach yourself from that part. Like when you get
Exactly.
a headache, you now suddenly have a head. Before that, you didn't realize your head existed, right? And then
Exactly.
once your headache goes away again, the head doesn't exist for us. So pain is nothing but our body trying to communicate with us. And disease too is one form of communication. And
Exactly.
hopefully we should never get to the point where either we feel pain or disease. And we should be living in that state of ease.
Exactly.
Correct? Perfect.
I mean, in that, I think I'm going out of topic, but I would like to just point this out. There is a synonym for treatment in
Hmm.
Sanskrit called as prayaschita.
Hmm.
The word prayas, I mean, usually we say the word is like chikitsa, or chikitsa means to treat. And there is a synonym for treatment or healing called as prayaschita. The word prayaschita literally means penalty for your misdeeds.
Oh,
And that is called as treatment. Why? Because if you are eating too much sugar and if you are having diabetes, fall on your knees and pray to God and say thank you that I'm having diabetes, because this is the way body is trying to put a control. It's a control check.
Dr. Vignesh, 1 minute. I have to clap for this
Thank you.
because every single time somebody messages me saying that I just found out I have type 2 diabetes, or somebody messages me saying that I have this autoimmune condition, the
Mhm.
first thing I tell them is congratulations. Okay. I say that good job, because now you're going to find the healthiest version that you've ever been. because
Exactly.
now you have to put yourself in such a strict box to heal yourself that it's going to be the best version of your life from now onwards, right? And
Exactly.
and it pisses off people the first time I do it, but till I explain to them, and it happened to my father as well.
Hmm.
As soon as he got his type 2 diabetes, he turned his life around. His sugar
Exactly.
went out, his walk started, his exercise started, and now he practically doesn't have any diabetes. And it is such a dramatic change. And you must see this, and not, and like you said, as penance almost for the
Hmm.
misdeeds that you've done,
Hmm.
but it is the guiding path towards health, and it's trying to
Exactly.
nudge you along it, and you have to learn these signs.
Exactly.
Sorry, I was very excited when you said that it's a good thing, you should congratulate.
Oh yeah. I mean, the idea is, see, there is a microscopic population that has a problem called they cannot feel pain at all.
Hmm.
And many people say, "Oh, I wish." The moment they hear about these people, they say, "I wish I was like them, so I don't get pain at all." And the
Correct.
problem with those people who don't have pain at all, what they have to do is every time they get up in the morning, first thing they have to go in front of the mirror and to see if their eyes are still there, or to see
Hmm.
if they did not swallow the tongue,
Bite
or
off their tongue.
they
Yeah.
just took something out. Because pain is a fantastic GPS. It
Hmm.
is telling you how to connect with your intelligence.
Hmm. Hmm.
And all the symptoms that we call are the way the body is having communication. Like in North, in Maharashtra, we speak Marathi. In Kerala, you speak Malayalam. The body speaks in the languages of symptoms and pain.
Correct.
And the more you're connected with it, the more you numb it, you are making it worse.
Hmm.
And other things sometimes people say, the modern medicine, we call genetics so much importance. We love to blame genetics.
Hmm.
And in Ayurveda, we say that it is a result of your lifestyle. It is a result of, there is a word called Pratnya Aparada. The word Pratnya Aparada means,
Hmm.
even though I know this is not good, but I
Hmm.
convince myself the other way around and go and do it.
Correct.
When you keep repeatedly doing this, it results in disease. These are the causes of disease. And it is so interesting. 80% of the diseases mentioned in modern medicine, including high
Hmm.
blood pressure, is a
Hmm.
disease of unknown cause.
Hmm.
And we call it scientific. If
Correct.
you're treating a disease which you do not know what is the real cause, it's as good as going and playing in a casino,
Correct.
or playing a Russian roulette. Doesn't make sense. We don't know what is the cause, so how can we really treat it?
Lottery.
And then the issue is, we think, okay, some people come and say, I was actually healthy, but suddenly I got this type 2 diabetes.
Hmm.
It's like saying, I was fat for a long time, but I don't know, suddenly I just got a six packs.
Hmm.
It just doesn't happen like that. you
Hmm.
you work it out, and maybe it will show up suddenly, but it is a result of your compound interest of all the habits that you're living.
Correct.
So today, most of the diseases that humanity is suffering from is a result of bad lifestyle and bad eating habits. So
Hmm.
that is why first we start with the sugar, and then we started with processed fat. And the question you need to ask is the food as close to nature, and is it as nearest possible time it is getting into the stomach? These questions you need to
Hmm.
ask.
Hmm. 1 minute.
And when it is,
I'll put myself on mute, and then we can continue the conversation, huh? So that these dogs don't disturb us. 1, 2, 3.
so when it comes to digestion, see, digestion is a sum total of your lifestyle. It is a sum total of the exercises, the sleep, your emotions. All of this are put together. And when it comes to food, in that aspect, we need to look at processed food, refined white sugar, and also the time we eat, and also the quantity of food we eat. All of this plays an important role. So since we spoke about food, let's talk about spices, because in India we love spices. And I think every foreigner had a dream, like in their checklist. Like now, every Indian has a dream that I need to go to Switzerland or America. Every foreigner at that time, I want to go to India and have a trade for spices. This was at that time. So when they came to India for the spices literally enhance the quality of your digestion. And improving the quality of digestion is like improving the quality of your life. That is why it's called, I need some spice in life. I need some variety in life. That's why the word spices have so many other metaphors. There's no spice in this relationship. I want to make it we even have a band called Spice Girls. So the idea is, that is why in Ayurveda we have given so much importance to spice. There are something like ginger is one of the most used one, cumin seeds, fennel, ajwain. All of this has its own importance. But when you look at spice, what it does, it helps to eliminate the mucus from your body. It regulates the temperature of your body, and it helps to eliminate excess water that is stored in your body. For example, if you take ginger, in Sanskrit, the word ginger is called as Vishwa Bheshaja. The word Vishwa Bheshaja means it's a universal medicine. We take ginger water, you boil it, or you can also put it, soak it, and you have dry ginger and you have wet ginger. There are many various utilities with that, but ginger helps to get rid of the mucus. If you have a tendency of too much of mucus in your body, that means that you are taking too much of sugar, or taking too much of processed fat, or you're eating very late at night. Eating late at night can produce a lot of mucus in our body. So this has to change. So ginger, to a great extent,
is milk also part of the mucus generating foods?
Yes, I'm coming to milk also. Yes.
Okay.
For sure, milk is actually mucus.
Okay.
But I'm not saying mucus, all the mucus is not bad. Mucus is produced in your body for some good reason.
Correct.
See, just like if you go to a high story building which has this fire water sprinkler, the moment there is a fire, there's water sprinklers. Immediately you see the fire, what happens is the water starts sprinkling, whether it's a big fire or a small fire or a smoke. The water starts sprinkling, so that it is trained in such a way that to make sure the whole rest of the building doesn't catch fire. Same way, the body produces mucus whenever there is a injury inside. It could be an injury because of too much of acidic food, too much of spicy food, or including alcohol. Or if you're not sleeping enough, your body is not detoxing properly, then also you can produce a lot of mucus. So mucus, you cannot say it is good or bad. It is a result of your lifestyle.
Correct.
But if it is produced too much, that means you are producing too much toxins, or the food you're eating is more than what the body can recycle or digest.
So in fact, from what, not from an Ayurvedic perspective, from what I read earlier, is mucus is one of your body's first line of defense.
Exactly.
Because it's there in your nose, right? It's there to trap bacteria. It's there to get rid of things and prevent it from entering our system.
Yes.
And the more mucus you have, it just means that your body feels there is more bad stuff coming in, and hence it needs to get rid of that.
Exactly.
And I think that's in line with what you were saying as well.
Yeah, the best example is, the moment you see there is a curfew or some riots is going to happen, you'll see a lot of police coming and standing there.
Correct.
It's not that police are bad. We are putting that so that the body's intelligence is just mind-blowing. There is a saying, if you ever feel depressed, just go and read how your body works. Then you will realize you are possessing one of the most powerful miracle ever produced in the history of planet Earth.
Correct.
And that is how our body is, exactly. So mucus in general is a result of what is going inside you. And if you're putting too much of food that are sticky in nature, then the body has to produce mucus. See, in Ayurveda, we have this beautiful concept called as ama. Ama, okay, if you read some of the textbooks, it will say it is something that is toxins in nature or near poison. But if you, check the etymology of the word ama, it has two sounds, a and ma. The word ma means me. Like in English, we have mine, me. Like ma means me, and a means not. So anything that we put inside the body, and if we are not able to blend that thing with me, it is a potential ama. So the more ama you have in your body, the more possibilities that you will fall sick.
Correct.
So and in Ayurveda, the word for excellent vitality is called as niramaya. The word niramaya means a state where you have least ama or least toxins. So the purpose of Ayurveda is how to live a life where you don't put in so much of ama, and if you have ama, how to get rid of it. That's simple.
Beautiful.
So the biggest contributing factor of ama in today's world is our food. So processed food, refined white sugar. Why I keep saying this, because we need to feed it like those in cricket, after every over they put the same commercial. We have to keep saying the same thing.
Correct. Correct.
So the processed food and the refined white sugar. And in Ayurveda, there are many schools of thoughts which says that you have to eat on time, and some
Hmm.
people say you have to eat only when you are hungry. But
Hmm.
in Ayurveda, the science takes to another level. It says that your lifestyle should be in such a way that you get hungry on time,
Ah,
and
right.
then when you eat on time, that's when your metabolism is at peak.
Hmm.
But what we are trained, okay, I'm not hungry, so I'm going to eat now. Usually, what
Hmm.
happens is when you're not hungry, you tend to overeat,
Hmm.
and then your next meal, you're not hungry, but still you eat because you have to eat.
Hmm.
So that puts you on a lifestyle where you keep building up your armor. So you have to have a non-negotiable schedule when it comes to, I need to train myself to be hungry on time, like morning
Hmm.
breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you can train your lifestyle in such a way that all the three times you're feeling hungry,
Hmm.
and then you're eating in such a way that you're not being not hungry. I mean, if you eat a breakfast, make sure your breakfast is good enough that you become hungry by lunchtime.
Hmm.
If you're
Correct.
having lunch, make sure you're eating lunch in such a way that you're hungry by dinner. And the same with the next day. So, and make sure your snacks are also not heavy. If you eat too much of heavy snacks, this will also impact your next meal.
Correct.
So, usually what happens, people who have acidity,
Hmm.
this is one of the biggest issue. Antacid is a big pharmaceutical bread and butter,
Yes.
cash cow. And the reason why we have so much of antacid, it's like, in Kerala, we have this, all the alcohol shops are owned by the government. So whenever they open a new alcohol shop, the government calls for this. Immediately, the neighboring shops, the people will go and try to open all the glass, Coca-Cola, uh, all the side additives that goes along with alcohol that will start.
The soft drinks and the chakna.
Soft drinks and all the other stuff.
Hmm.
Same is with the food and the antacid industry. It's like,
Hmm.
because we are eating so much of unhealthy food and that are having lots of toxins, that is why the body keeps having this acidity.
Hmm.
This acidity is a result of your unhealthy food habits.
Hmm.
And if you take antacid constantly, what happens is you are suppressing your digestive capacity, and you're literally making your gut like a simple waste basket. And see, the acidity is coming because the acid is coming as a way to burn the excess glue in your food that you're eating, because
Hmm.
acid helps to, it's like a detergent.
Hmm.
But if it is coming too much, means you're eating too much, and now the body is trained in such a way that it is giving hyper reflex.
Hmm.
Even a little
Hmm.
bit of food, it is changing. So you need to give it some time. It goes through a shock. So the best way to get rid of acidity is reduce sugar, reduce spicy fried food,
Hmm.
and reduce the quantity of food. So in Ayurveda, what is the right consumption of food? We say that if you take the stomach or the whole gut as three parts, I mean, if you take a glass for three parts, the first half is for, no, the 1/3 is solid food,
Hmm.
1/3 for liquid, and the last 1/3 is empty space, so that you give enough space to
Churn.
continue. And then, the modern, see, another thing with nutrition is one of the most controversial subjects.
Yeah.
It is more controversial than God, money, and many other aspects.
And it's
And
constantly changing.
yeah, and the same author will come back with a new edition saying, sorry, my previous book was not correct.
Correct. Hmm.
Because, and
But at least those are the good authors who admit it. Huh? There are some
exactly,
authors who will
exactly.
double down on it and say, no, no, this way only, no
Yeah, that
matter what
is
science says.
exactly. We all need a, Copernicus inside us. We need to
Hmm.
question. Otherwise we will continue believing that the Earth is not round. So
Correct.
that on one way it is quite good. But the concept of nutrition and Ayurveda, we had given so much importance to food combining before any other nutritional scientists have put their hands on.
Hmm.
And if you remember, in Western world, the person who came up with the research on food combination is Ivan Pavlov. The Pavlov, the
Hmm.
guy who came with the dog and food and the bell theory.
Correct.
He was the
Correct.
one who came with the concept of food combination. And it's
Hmm.
quite interesting. But in Ayurveda, we say that food combination, certain foods, if you combine it, it will impair your digestion, it will make you weak, it will make you toxic.
Hmm.
And how to understand food combination? It's like, treat your gut like it's your washing machine. You don't put your white shirt and your black shirt together.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
and if you go to some of the developed civilized societies, you'll see that they're fanatically obsessed with waste segregation. They separate the plastic, they separate the paper, they separate all of this. See, none of it is put together. It's all separated, so that the way you recycle a plastic, the way you recycle compost, way you recycle food waste, it's all different ways. You don't put it all together. But nature had her limitations to design our gut. To a great extent, you put anything, we think that anything I put it together, it's going to digest. This is what we think.
Correct.
But it is not like that. We have to respect how much it can process. So some food has a different enzymes to digest. Some food has enzymes that are contradicting to the other food. For example, in Ayurveda, we say that never mix milk with fish or fruits. This is one thing that is important. And also, if you observe in modern medicine, when you understand how the digestion works, the enzyme that is required to digest proteins, and the enzyme that is required to digest starch or carbohydrates or glucose, these two are contradicting in nature. When these two meet in the stomach, it will, whatever that needs to process in 10 minutes or half an hour, it could take up to 3-4 hours.
Correct.
So that is why they say after having this food, I feel so heavy, tired, and I feel lethargic. I feel I need to go to sleep. That's because their food combination is not good. And today, one food combination that is being sold everywhere is the cheeseburger. Cheeseburger, you have cheese and meat.
Correct.
And cheese, the enzyme that is required to digest cheese and the enzyme that is required to digest meat, these two things are like putting your expensive fresh white shirt with a newly dyed black shirt together. And the beauty of our body is, to some extent, it adapts. Even if you put toxins, if it is slow poison, if you put, it will adapt for some time. And after the adaptation, a time comes, there is no going back, like the frog in that boiling water. So we think that, okay, just because I'm not getting any problems right now, and I feel, the issue with cheeseburger, when you eat it, you will not feel hungry for a long time.
Correct.
So I can have a cheeseburger, so I don't have to eat for a long time. It is better to be hungry and suffer than to have the after effects of cheeseburger later. So try to separate these. You see, the best thing that goes along with meat are less carbohydrate. Go for leafy vegetables or salads, green leafy salads. And when you're having, if you mix potatoes with meat, you'll have lots of bloating, gas, trouble, all of that. It's because potatoes need a different enzyme to digest. Just like the way we put plastic separately and the food waste separately, we need to put meat separately and the potatoes separately.
Yep.
And so these are certain aspects. And avoid frozen food as much as possible, because our gut line needs to be constantly open. It has a lot of micro openings, which allows the food we eat into enter our bloodstream. See, anything that goes inside your mouth has a potential to enter our bloodstream. And bloodstream is like the most powerful thing in our body. The quality of your blood is the quality of your life. So if you drink something cold, we are blocking the entry of food into your gut. See, when you get a cut, what do? You put the finger in ice or cold water, so it heals. It blocks the pores.
Correct.
The same is if you drink something frozen, it literally closes down the pores that are going to let the food inside. So that is why frozen food, cold beverages, all these are contradictory when it comes to improving the quality of your digestion. So in nutshell, avoid starch or carbohydrates with too much of proteins. If you have it, it's not that you're going to die or something terrible is going to happen. Just make sure you give it some rest. And if you're feeling heavy after food, make sure your next meal is as light as possible. And if possible, go for a fasting.
Correct.
And according to Ayurveda, our digestion is weakest at the night time, after the sunset. So the lighter you eat, if you're having difficulty putting on weight, And if you want to put on weight, I'm not saying it won't be healthy weight. It could be unhealthy weight. It's usually unhealthy weight. If you want to put
Correct.
on unhealthy weight, have late night dining and heavy late night dining,
Correct.
and go to sleep immediately.
Hmm.
And you will get up very tired. You will get up with a lot of mucus, and then you will crave for more sugar because your body is not having enough energy to get it from the real food that we ate. So we go for instant gratification, like too much of sugar, Red Bull, and caffeine. But
Hmm.
in the long run, you're not making. It's like you're running a business that is not making profit. So you keep on depending on bank loans, which is high interest. And
Hmm.
over time, it comes and you are going bankrupt, and you have no other returning back.
Correct.
The first step is, try to limit the food you eat and learn to fast if you're not hungry, and then train your lifestyle in such a way that you're trained to being hungry on time, and then when you eat on time it makes sense. So
Hmm.
hot water,
Hmm.
warm beverages, avoid cold beverages, avoid cold food, frozen food.
I love that. So,
Yeah.
to recap this part, saying that to keep our digestive fires burning, try and avoid the cold food, cold water, etc., as much as possible.
Exactly.
It's not that you should not have frozen food that you reheat and eat, right? So, like frozen green peas that you boil and eat is still okay.
That's
That what
another concept. See, there are people who say that it will lose its prana or things, but I'm saying don't eat it when it is cold in nature.
cold in
The
nature. That is
cold
the important one.
temperature, if it goes inside, it will block the pores.
Correct. And especially now, I think when we are sitting at home and we don't know what to do with ourselves, I think drinking something warm and hot is
Exactly.
a good way to pass time, especially
Exactly.
beyond coffee, right? Is there a
Yes,
nice option that is available to people beyond coffee that they should be sipping through the day?
they can take tea.
Hmm.
Tea with herbs like ajwain, cumin seeds,
Hmm.
jeera. All these you
Hmm.
can make a tea at home. You can put also a little bit of ginger,
Hmm.
and all this, and you make it in a very little portion and keep drinking this tea because see, the British, they colonized a big part of this land just for the tea
Hmm.
because it warms up the body and it helps to release toxins.
Hmm.
So if you can take hot water, put some herbs. Like I would
Hmm.
start with ajwain, is fantastic.
Okay.
Cumin seeds,
Hmm.
coriander. All these
Hmm.
are basic seeds that you can put in water. It's also detoxing your body.
Okay. Lovely. So
And
ajwain, cumin. Hmm.
keep a thermos like this with you. This is a worthy investment.
Okay. So a nice thermos flask which has warm water in it
Yes,
or warm tea in it that you're going to sip throughout the day.
exactly. And I'm not talking about the tea like you go to a Starbucks or where you get this tea like a
Chai
concentrated tea.
latte.
Yeah,
Correct.
not that one. I'm talking about the
Hmm.
mild one. You just put some herbs and make it uh, hot, and you keep sipping it
Right.
daily because this helps to purify your stuff.
Whether you put tea leaves in it or not doesn't matter.
That's another question that it depends
Correct.
on what you want. Yes.
What you prefer. Okay, lovely. So one is the hot beverages, not to do the cold ones too much.
Yes.
The other was fruits. No, sorry. The other was milk and proteins. But you had also mentioned fruits and proteins. Can we deep dive into fruits and
See,
sorry,
so
fruits and milk?
milk. Yes. See, when it comes to fruits and milk, the most important factor and no is fruits with the acidic fruits. The like pineapple, citrus
Hmm.
acid, which has a
Hmm.
lot of vitamin C. When you
Hmm.
mix that with milk,
Hmm.
you tend to get a lot of bloating in your stomach.
Hmm. It turns into dahi in your stomach.
Exactly. So,
Hmm.
see, our stomach loves to ferment things, that likes to
Correct.
break it down. And
Hmm.
fermentation is a way of breaking down things. But
Hmm.
if it is happening at a faster rate, it goes like a balloon. And then you're
Hmm.
not able to enjoy the process of what you ate. See, in
Hmm.
Ayurveda, we have this concept called as vipaka, means the aftertaste.
Hmm.
How to understand the food you ate is good is how do you feel the aftertaste is.
Hmm.
After the food, if you're feeling light, energetic, no issues, then the food you ate is fantastic. But after the food, if you feel heavy, tired, and you have a sour taste or the taste keeps coming back, you keep burping the same taste again, that
Hmm.
means
Hmm.
something is not correct. So that is why when you eat fruits with milk,
Hmm.
again, like I said, meat and carbohydrate, the same goes here to a great extent.
Hmm.
Milk and fruits, these two
Hmm.
do not mix well together. See, fruit
Hmm.
is having mostly water soluble stuff,
Hmm.
and milk is having fat soluble stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
and both are having different ways the body is going to absorb it. So just give it a time, space it.
Okay. And by space, about 45 minutes, 1 hour, half an
No,
hour?
I would say, see, minimum of half an hour, or I would say skip with the meal. See, if you love to have meat for lunch, and for dinner
Hmm.
you have something like a salad or vegetables. I mean, something which is non-protein stuff.
Okay.
And but mixing milk and fruits, it will taste good at that time, but later, if you keep eating it, your body will get accustomed. But later, it will become to many chronic gut disorders.
Correct. Especially now when everybody is thinking about fruit smoothies and how they can actually mix milk and fruits together to make something tasty, and believe that it's healthy, because obviously that's what they're doing it for.
See, that is because, see, not all calories are the same.
Hmm.
See, the calorie you get from a junk food and the calories you
Hmm.
get from a healthy food are not the same.
Hmm.
And just by mixing it all together, let us not think that, we are, see, our brain has a good side and a bad side. The bad side, good side is it doesn't want to miss anything out. It wants everything, which is good because that what's motivate us. I want to experience new things, and that is what is
Keep
making us
searching.
exactly. That is what is making us. Let's colonize Mars. Let's go and do that. But the negative side is, oh my God, if I don't put this, I'm going to miss out on something. What is happening is you are missing out on what you're having also by doing that.
FOMO. Correct.
Exactly. So let us try to separate that. Instead of putting everything together and having it, let's give it some time. There is, if you're trying to put everything together in a smoothie and taking it, it's like using the 95 Microsoft Windows to play your Netflix today.
Hmm.
Our digestion is not so strong enough to get all of that together.
Correct. And what about fruits after meals, fruits before meals? Good idea, bad idea? How should you approach it?
According to Ayurveda, the sweet, if you start with something that is sweet in nature, mildly sweet, I'm not talking about the rasagulla and the chocolates that are high with refined white sugar. I'm talking about the
Correct.
natural sources of sweet.
Hmm.
When you start with sweet, your body activates all the enzymes that is required to digest.
Okay.
So Ayurveda says start your food with something that is sweet in nature because that activates it gets you ready. It sets you in the before you exercise, you need a warm up.
Right.
So when you warm up, your body relaxes and it is ready for the wear and tear your muscles are going to have. But if you have it, it's not that you cannot exercise, but after the warm up, your exercise is much more enjoyable and the recovery is faster and you don't have injuries.
Fascinating.
Same way, if you start with something that is light, sweet in nature, your body is more prepared to digesting food. Your good enzymes are released because sweet is the most hardest thing to digest.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So if you can have fruits in empty stomach, because fruits are one of the natural forms of sugar, and it is like in ancient times, the fruit was the IV for us. It's like the moment you eat fruit in empty stomach, it immediately enters your bloodstream.
Hmm.
Because you don't need so much of time to digest like atta or wheat or gluten or other things.
Correct.
So when you eat it in empty stomach, you take the best out of it.
Hmm.
And we love efficiency. And if you eat sweet at the end, usually what happens is sugar in your stomach equals gas and fermentation.
Okay.
I mean, for a longer period.
Hmm.
The longer it stays, the more gas you will produce.
Hmm.
So we have a culture of buffet. We go and eat everything, and then you have the spread of different chocolates and cakes and rasagulla with ice cream with
Correct.
all of this. When you put it inside, you will feel, wow, that food was too good because you feel full. And we have this culture, eat more, eat more, eat more.
Free mein hai.
Exactly.
It's free. Have as much as you can.
And there is a saying, free food has a completely next level taste.
Absolutely.
So because we are trained, okay, it's like we are still thinking like the early man. Early man doesn't know when the next supply of food will come. So we don't know when the next supply of such free food will come. So we try to consume as much as possible. And the funny thing about our gut is you cannot eat at once for the rest of your life. You need to eat, no matter how much you eat, after a few hours, you're going to get hungry again.
Yes.
So let us use that in a proper way and make sure your sweet is coming in the beginning, not at the end. This is what
So well put.
Ayurvedic perspective is.
So if I had to put it in a practical way, saying that if so, I typically do intermittent fasting. So I normally will have my first meal around 1:30, 2 maybe sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, does it make sense to have a fruit just before I break my fast? So like half an hour before I eat my meal, should I have something sweet and
That
then
will be a
begin my meal?
fantastic way. That will be a fantastic. See, in Ayurveda, it is said. See, I used to practice in northern Kerala few years ago, and there I used to get a lot of patients from Muslim communities,
Hmm.
and they would come during the time of Ramadan.
Hmm.
And during that time, I see they are so healthy. They are. I could see the changes, and you
Correct.
can see it from their pulse and their lifestyle. They are so healthy. Within 2 weeks after the Ramadan, I see that they go back to their old patterns.
Correct.
And in some certain communities, they have this concept called as Ekadeshi. They fast for the whole day, and the next day they eat like they never saw food for a long period.
Yes.
The problem with fasting, after fasting, if you eat more, it is like the elephant, taking bath and immediately it puts all the mud back to it. So, so in Ayurveda, it is said that after fasting, you have to start very light. It's like, when the
Hmm.
fire is not there, you start with a small twig, and then you
Hmm.
put another twig with the fire, and then you put the bigger wooden log. The same
Hmm.
is with our digestive fire. You start with easy to digest food, like fruit is the best way because it is much easier to start, and then you start building it on it.
Nice. Okay, so I think this is a good way of thinking about it. Normally, what we used to do was we used to start off with a clear soup or something like that,
Mhm.
and then get into our food. I think this will also make a big difference.
Yes, I mean, soup is also a fantastic way. It's easy to digest. It's already in a liquid portion. We are
Hmm.
eliminating most of what the body needs to do.
Hmm. Correct.
And chewing is another important part. 50% of your digestion, if it can happen in the mouth, it really
Hmm.
helps to digest faster.
Especially the grains that we're eating, we don't
Yes,
realize that most of the grains get digested in the mouth first before they get digested in the
exactly,
stomach. There's
exactly,
an enzyme called amylase that only gets
exactly,
secreted in our saliva, in our
exactly.
mouth,
Hmm.
and only once we chew and have that enzyme in our chapatis and in our rice can actually be digested well once we swallow it.
Exactly. I mean, there's a saying, if you want to improve your digestion, chew like a cow.
Oh God, this has been such a fascinating conversation. What I love talking to you about is the way that you explain Ayurveda. I think it is not a, it's not deathly serious. It is
Mhm.
not about how only diseases that exist, and that's the way that I've mostly seen people talk about Ayurveda, and you explain things so well. I wish we could do lots more of these sessions
Oh,
together.
yes.
I think we're coming close to the time when we'll have to cut this podcast, maybe do another one soon
Sure. Mhm.
on another fascinating aspect of Ayurveda. Is there anything you want to say before we close on any of the topics that we discussed before I ask you to where people can find more about what you're doing, etc.?
See, being healthy is much easier than being sick.
Hmm.
A sick person is investing more time, energy, and unwanted expense than a healthy person. We think that being healthy is something associated only for rich people, but being healthy is much easier, less expensive, and more better investment than being sick. And being healthy is a choice.
Correct.
And it starts with the intention that I want to be healthy and making health as your priority. In Ayurveda, it is said, no matter what you have, without health, everything is good for nothing.
Hmm.
But if you have health and you don't have anything else, but with health, you can rebuild everything back.
Very
So,
well put.
so
The
make sure,
vitality.
exactly. Make sure
Hmm.
your single most priority in life is health, because once you have that, you will have everything else.
Beautifully put. And unfortunately, health becomes our third priority, fourth priority, fifth priority.
Yeah,
Right?
but
Everything else becomes bit more. I think we have to learn to focus on our health and say that this is the foundation that we're building.
exactly.
Everything is going to be on top of this health because, like you said, I can always rebuild, I can
Mhm.
always restart. But once the health is gone, it's just such a uphill climb. It's a fight.
Exactly.
Lovely. Dr. Vignesh, where can people find out more about what you're doing? How can people follow you? What's the best way of people to get in touch with you?
I run a Ayurveda retreat where we do this authentic intense panchakarma, which is like 2 to 3 weeks where people come and stay. They get into the habits. We cleanse them inside out. and we change their lifestyle and improve the quality of life. So you can check the website sitaramretreat.com, and
Okay.
they can connect with me in Instagram, Vignesh Devraj. And I also run a podcast, Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond, which is more focused on health, alternative health, healing, all of these aspects.
And I just wanted to say, I started listening to one of your podcasts, and then we ended up listening to three of them on the dining table with my parents. So it is very, very interesting, his podcast, and it touch on fascinating topics, just like the conversation that we had
Yes,
today.
thank you, Justin.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me, and I look forward to doing this again very soon with
You're
you.
welcome. I'm sure we will do more of it.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.